See, astrology, it's more to astrology than just looking at the planets. That's considered stargazing. And a lot of people, they look at us astrologers like we're just stargazers, like we're just people that just sit out there and like, oh, look how beautiful Venus is tonight, on the nights that you can see Venus, or oh, look how beautiful the moon is tonight, or look how beautiful, the crescent is, or the gibbous moon is, and that's planetary gazing, or or look at the Sirius star constellation, because you can see the Sirius star constellation like around the time of like the summer solstice in the United States of America. You can see it like around June or July, like late June, early July. The Sirius star constellation is at its peak, so you can see it. It aligns, and you can see it. If you are able to spot it, and you are able to look at it and look for it, and that's cool. That's the beginning. That's the basics of astrology. Simply stargazing. But there's what's called operative astrology, and then there's speculative astrology. You have to get these two terms in your mind. You can be an operator. You can operate and work with the planets, and which will make you an operative astrology, or you can be a speculator. And a speculative astrologer not only just looks at the stars and how beautiful they are and things of that nature, but then they get into sciencing up people's personalities, reading horoscopes, and reading horoscopes these days are just like reading the comics, stuff like that. Or they get into like they get their natal charts done and all of that type of stuff, and they try to see if their personality fits their natal chart. They're just speculating. They're not going to take any of this stuff really serious. You essentially learn about. You could just take your 13 signs astrology astrological sign, which is your unique correct sign based upon the dates that I have on that site. You can go and find out what your real sign is, your 13 sign astrology sign, and your job after that is to become an operator based upon what your sign is. You want to not just align your personality with the personality traits, but you want to make the best of who you are. You want to make the best of your attributes. You have to look at it like your sign is like you in a poker game or a game of blackjack, and you get dealt a hand, and that's your hand. You got your hand right, and it may be a crappy hand. It may be a crappy hand, but that doesn't mean that you're going to lose, because there's still the mental aspect of how to work with and play the hand. And that's where operative astrology comes into play at. You're not, okay, you may have an afflicted natal chart, you may have a sign that's, not really the best sign in some areas in a lot of ways, and it may be really a really good sign in some other areas in a lot of ways. But it's your job to become an operator, to make the best of your sign. Essentially is what it is. And I'm going to give you, see on the site, I have this lunar ritual, this ritual that we do every new moon or whatever, and I'm going to give this ritual today to you guys, for free of charge. The ritual itself, I'm going to tell you the ritual right here on this video, free of charge, because of the fact that we're going into Mercury direct. There's a new moon coming up on the 12th, and not only that, but based upon where the climate is right now in the world, there's a lot of people talking about the economy's finna melt down, and we finna lose more jobs, and the government may be shutting down in December because they don't know if they're going to make a pact with the president over here in the U.S. and the Congress, or are they going to be able to get along and form some type of a bond or treaty together. So people are paranoid right now, and there's a lot of other stuff going on, and I'm going to save that for another video, because this is not one of those type of videos. My thing is, it's about solutions. I want to help you to be able to align with with the moon. We're just going to use the moon for right now. You don't even need to know your astrological sign right now. We're going to start with the basics. We're going to start you from scratch and help you to teach you how to use astrology and use the planets so that you can become an operator and work with the planets based upon moving with their cycles. And the moon is the best place to start, because of the fact that the moon was always the celestial body used for growth, for farming, for horticulture and things of that nature. We would use the moon essentially as the focal point in order for us to manifest things, even when it came to like eating and our food, even back in the day before we had a big time global economy that was based upon all of this currency and all of that. We were farming based upon the cycles of the moon. We would plant our seeds during certain cycles. We would water our plants more during certain cycles and less during other cycles. Because astrology is all about timing, and you can work magic through time. And that's essentially what I'm going to teach you how to do here. So you have to, first and foremost, you have to have, see, society, let me just start from here. Society has made us into slaves. And just to keep it all the way real with you, I'm a street dude or whatever, so I'm going to just use the term. When I think about a slave, I think about the term nigga. Now, you may look at the term nigga as a term, that's negative. It's associated with a lot of bad things. It's the N word. You can't say it, but you can go on TV and say shit, dick, all this other stuff on television, on local television now, not even cable, that's subscribed television, but you can say all of this stuff on television, but let somebody use what they call the N word, or I'll just say it nigga, because I can do that. And everybody's going crazy or whatever, but let's get into the nature of the word, the metaphysics of the word. The term nigga, of course, came, and they say it was popularized during slavery, and it was a derogatory term that the slaves used. The slave master used and called the slaves. They would call them nigga, and this was supposed to be a derogatory term, when essentially, really, what it is, it just means, it comes from the term nicro, or nicra, which actually in Spanish means black. Just you fail to realize in Spanish means, I'm not saying you should call yourself a nigga as far as your nationality. I'm not saying that, but I'm getting somewhere with this. We're talking about metaphysics here. So I realize if you know your nationality, if you want to call yourself African American, whatever, Moorish American, whatever you want to call yourself, if you are, a so-called melanated black person, that's cool. If you're a white person, you want to call yourself Italian or whatever, that's cool. But the term Negro or Nicra essentially just means black. At one point on your birth certificate, if you was born in this country, they would have called you a Negro, black or colored. Essentially, so at the end of the day, this used to be a term that was labeled and put on you. When you research it, though, the term nigga links, to me, it links into a slave-minded individual, a person that's involved in what's called mental slavery. There was this guy, the slave master or whatever, and I'm not going to go into his name or his facts right now, but he said that we're going to let the slaves free, but we're going to put them under what's called a mental slavery. And this mental slavery is going to last a lot longer than physical slavery, because they was getting a lot of political flack for physical slavery. So therefore, they put people up under what's called mental slavery. And you have to keep in mind that there were more than just, when you talk about slaves, there were more than just blacks or so-called African slaves. There were Irish slaves. The term slave comes from the term Slavic, which goes back into a group of people over in the area of Asia Major or Asia Minor is what it is, over in close to Russia and Ukraine and all that. The Slavic people. That's where the original term slave comes from, and that's a video in and of itself too. I'm not trying to really address history here, but I'm talking about metaphysics. So at the end of the day, it's safe to say that anyone, in this country, you consider a nigga, a slave, and you are this based upon the fact that you're programmed up under a form of mind control. Now let's get into the mind control. We live in this matrix, and we live in kind of like an aquarium type of setup. This is an aquarium. This is an automated control environment. Things run like, and it's controlled by a false reality of time, which is that clock that you guys look at all the time to keep time. That's the God, the zero time reference, and that's the thing that keeps you up under slavery. So when the clock is this time, you do X, Y, and Z. When the clock is that time, you do X, Y, and Z. This is a form of mental slavery. The only way to break out of, and I don't care if you white, black, Chinese, whatever color you are watching this video, at the end of the day, if you are controlled and you feel like basically you don't have control of your life and you don't meet your goals and your requirements that you set for yourself, you're considered a slave. And that's what I'm going to address here, so you can figure out as to whether or not if you're meeting your goals. You are considered a slave mentally. Now, we're not talking about you being in chains or whatever. Again, I want to reinforce this, because I'm not trying to bash you or beat you up. I'm trying to help you see where we're at so that you can begin to get yourself out of it. So the clock is what controls everything. So what you want to do is you want to change your reference point and link your reference point into the planets. The planets tell true time at the end of the day. Yeah, you may say the sun may come up at 6:50 where you're at one day, 6:50 a.m., and then maybe 6 months later it may come up at 7:20 a.m. where you're at. And the time changed, right? But the sun still is on the same exact time. It came up at the same exact time as far as the flow of it or whatever. The sun, basically what I'm saying is the motion of the sun didn't stop. It didn't slow down or anything like that. It's just the reference point changed because of the fact that the earth is moving in certain directions, and there are certain times when the earth is closer to the sun and further away from the sun, which causes us to have less or more daylight. Essentially what it is. So you want to lock yourself into the motion of these planets so that you can free yourself from slavery. Then you want to take the term nigga, and I'm going to hip you on what my man Tupac Amaru Shakur taught us. He said that nigga, we can reverse it because we all have been deemed niggas and call it a negative term, but we want to flip this term. You want to play a mind game on yourself and make it to mean never ignorant getting goals accomplished. So you want to set some goals for yourself, nigga, as an acronym, never ignorant getting goals accomplished. So you want to set some goals for yourself. Now this is the part where we're going to get into determining as to whether or not you are a slave, and only you can answer that question. Now, how many of you set goals for yourself and these goals are fulfilled? And when I say set goals for yourself, I'm not speaking of goals that you've been programmed to believe based upon the aquarium or the controlled environment we live in. I'm not talking about setting a goal to go watch the football game after you get off work and of course you're going to go watch it. Or I'm not talking about setting a goal to go and lay up with your wife or whatever at a certain time and of course you go do it because it's time for you to go to bed anyway. I'm talking about goals that will, of empowerment, goals that will free you. How many of you get goals accomplished? How many of you, say for instance, you always say, I want a savings account. I want to have some money saved up. You may make money every day. You may make thousands of dollars every month, but you don't have any money saved up. You know why you don't have any money saved up? Because you never set a goal for yourself. You want it. You can be real with yourself. You may want to have a nest egg, but you just never set aside the time to save any money. At the end of the day, you just didn't do it. So that would mean that you are falling up under, you're failing yourself, and you're falling up under the negative aspects of the term nigga, which is, someone that's lazy, controlled, someone that's ignorant, lacking knowledge, because you don't know how to free yourself. You lack the knowledge of how to fulfill and manifest goals. So what this lunar ritual is going to teach you how to do is to fulfill and manifest these goals. So that's what I want to get into, whatever goals you set. Now what you want to do is that the new moon is coming up on the 12th, around 7:50 p.m. because I know you guys are still locked into the clock. We all are. We are all still locked into the clock, even myself in a lot of ways. So you want to look at 7:50 p.m. Eastern time, whatever that time is for you. I have people that watch these videos all over the world. Shout out to my people in China, India, Russia, all over the world to watch these videos. So I don't know where you're at, but you all probably have a search engine. Get on your search engine and figure out what 7:50 p.m. equals out to in your time zone. Eastern time in America, in the United States, which is Eastern time. You want to figure out what that equals out to in your time zone. That's the new moon, October the 12th, 7:50 p.m. around that time. Around that time when the new moon hits, get you an ink pen out. You're going to partake in what's called Holy Writ. Notice that the scriptures are numbered. Holy Writ goes into writing things out based upon numbers. So I'm trying to teach you how to reprogram yourself. Soon as the new moon hits, you want to set 10 goals for yourself. 10 goals. And this is based upon Holy Writ. One, you want to number them. 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. You want to set 10 easily obtainable goals. Goals that are easy to reach. Not goals that are hard, because this is a mental game you're playing with yourself. So it's not about like the bigger picture yet. I'm going to tell you the bigger picture in a minute. Right now it's about the reprogramming phase on this first new moon cycle. So say for instance you don't have a savings. You want to set a goal to create a savings, and you want to set an easy amount of money that you can have saved up by the end of the next new moon, which will be 29 days later. So if you want a savings, you may say, I want to save $50 or have $100 in the bank, because you don't have any money. You live in check to check. You don't realize it because you think you're going to get paid, but you don't have no money actually sitting there saved up. Like literally, somewhere is just, you're not touching it. Not money that you expected from your check. That's programming. That's the nigga. We're trying to get out of the negative aspects of nigga and flip it and get into the positive aspect. Never ignorant getting goals accomplished. So you want to set a goal to have $50 saved up, or you may be miserable and lonely and you don't have any friends or whatever the case may be. You want to set a goal to try to meet 4 new friends by the next 29 days or the next new moon. These could be just different goals. What are you unhappy about in your life? What is simple stuff that you know you can do? What do you want to change about your life and get out of this automated slump so you can break free? So you want to set these goals for yourself. You may have a little bit more money, but you may be always working all the time, but you don't go nowhere. You want to set a goal to say, okay, I'm going to go travel. I'm going over to France. You know you can really afford it, but you just never do it because you locked into this. You're a workaholic. You're locked into this work phase. You want to free yourself because there's something over in France that you need to see. You may live in New Mexico. You may live in California. You may live in Brazil somewhere. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go visit London. Go and visit London. You know you got the money to do it. Go do it. But you're just not doing it because you locked into the cycles of this false time, this false clock. And I'm pointing to the time right now on my station. You locked into this false clock. So what you want to do is that you want to break free by setting goals for yourself. Now, why 10 goals? I use 10 goals in the lunar ritual because of the fact that 10 links up with what's called the binary code. 1 and 0. It's a very deep. 1 and 0 are really truly the most powerful numbers out there, and 1 and 0 are the reasons why you see me right now. You see me because of 1 and 0. So we're partaking in breaking free using Holy Writ to break free. So we want to use coded numbers. So 1 through 10 locks us into 1 and 0. This is why you want to have 10 goals. Now you want to write these 10 goals out. Then you want to form a space in your living room or in wherever somewhere that's private to you. I don't know how you live or whatever, but it's going to be an altar to you, but it may not look like an altar to other people. If you can't afford a table or whatever, you can just set it up on a floor somewhere, anywhere, just a private sacred space. And what you want to do is that you want to put your goals there on that private sacred space, and then from there what you want to do is that you want to put 10 items that correspond with your goals. So say for instance you want $50 saved up. You want to find 50 pennies, put them in a jar to represent the $50. Say, for instance, you want to meet someone. You want to meet a beautiful female. You're tired of being lonely. You want to get you some, and you're a male. You want to get you some roses. Put those roses to the side. Say, for instance, you're a female and want to meet a male. You're tired of being lonely. Get you some male fragrance. Get you some men's cologne. It really works. Use that as an item. Say, for instance, you say, I want to go to Paris, France, or wherever I want to travel. Go get a picture of Paris and France. Put it on your altar. So whatever it is, no matter, you want to meet 10 new contacts. You want to meet 10 new business acquaintances. You have a business, you don't know anybody, you don't know how you want to get it started. So what you want to do is that you want to write down 10 names of potential people that you're going to target. It could just be random people you know online. It could even be me. Say, I'm going to target him. I don't know nobody, but I'm watching this video. Well, target me then. Figure out how you're going to get me to look at your business. I mean, I'm a busy guy, try to hunt me down some kind of way. But it could be anybody, or just people that you may know online on Twitter and Facebook, but you ain't never said nothing to them. How many of us have friends on Twitter and Facebook and we don't say anything to them? You don't say nothing to them. Don't even know them. You never even say, hey, how you doing? Well, start with them. You may not know nobody in your community, or you may have neighbors. You don't have any friends on social media, but you got neighbors. Go and knock on your neighbors' doors and introduce yourself and say, oh, I have a business and XYZ. So you want to come up with so many names or however many contacts you want to meet. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, you want to find things that align with your goals. And what you want to do is that you want to wake up every day. It's the last part of the ritual. Every morning at 5 a.m. your time. 5 a.m. And I know we're talking clocks here, but there's really, it could be anywhere between 3 a.m. and 7 p.m. Or really, no, let's say 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. Anywhere between 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. You want to wake up in the morning. You want to read over your goals for 14 days after the new moon. So starting on the 12th, you write your goals. On the 13th in the morning, you read your goals. On the 14th in the morning, you read your goals. You do this for 14 days, which will put you at the 26th. That's when the moon is going to be full now. It's going to be big, magnetic, ready to give you everything you just wrote down. You want to stop reading it, keep it on your altar, and let everything just play out and see what happens. Now, if you're real about yourself, it takes action. Whatever goals you set, you have to put action behind it. That's why you're reading your goals every day. But if you're real with yourself and you do this ritual, at the end of the 14 days, you will have everything that you asked for. Now, once you get everything you asked for, now you are tapping into a new consciousness. Now you just open up a portal, a goals portal. You've made time for your goals now instead of making time for football. The reason why you're able to watch football and baseball and watch your favorite comedian or whatever you do in your spare time, the reason why you always get that done and those goals get met is because you've created a portal in the universe for it. That's why those goals get met. But your real lot bigger goals, your bucket list, this is what we talking about, your bucket list, the stuff you want. The reason why that stuff never gets done is because of the fact that you haven't created a space for it in consciousness in the universe. By working with the planets, you have to create a space for it. So now you've created that space. And just like when you create space, what happens? Bodies rotate through space. Planets move through space. This is operative astrology. So now you've made a space for it. So now your goals will. So now when you write down your next 10 goals on the next new moon, which will be sometime in November, they're going to happen a lot easier. You can set harder goals, a little bit harder to achieve goals. You may want to build off of the old goals. You may say, okay, now I got $50 saved up because that's what you're into. Now I want to have $150 saved up. I'm going to try to step up this month, save up a little bit more money. Or, I've met 5 new contacts. Now I want to meet 5 more. You can build off of the goals, but you created that space. So guess what? Things are starting to flow better for you. Things will start to happen a lot easier for you. And now you've engaged in operative astrology. That's what I'm going to try to be dealing with. For the rest of this segment, this series, however long it lasts, for however long Spirit tells me to keep making these type of videos, that's what we're going to try to get into. Try to help you guys to really look at not just about character traits and getting kicks and thrills out of people being Libras and Aries and Virgos and Cancer, but really get into operating this thing and making this thing work for you so you can change your life however you want to change it. Don't look at anybody else's life. There's probably accountants watching this video and people that's making $150,000 a year. Like, I got $50 in the bank. What are you talking about? I got $150,000 saved up. It's not for you then, okay? You already probably know how to manifest things through planetary magic. You probably involved in some secret society. I'm trying to target people that don't know. That's why why are you saying nigga and all of this? Because I'm trying to appeal to a group of people that they hear people say nigga over and over again because they listen to people like Future and Drake and this, that, and that person. And, they're in secular society. These are my people that I connect with. This is what I came out of. So I connect with those people. So I use those type of terms. I'm not this big self-help teacher that, got all these people that's making $150,000 a year already, and all these. My people that I deal with come from the bottom. So I try to start from, that point up. Don't get me wrong, I do got some heavy hitters out there. Shout out to a lot of people out there that supported me, celebrities and all that watch this channel. You never know who you on here with leaving those comments. I want to tell you guys that too, because there are important people that watch this channel. Keep in mind, there's not just a bunch of low-lifes, or if you want to, what you term low-life, put it that way. There are some high-class people that watch this channel. I do want to say that. But at the end of the day, I keep it real with myself and my own energy. So those are your goals. The other things you can do is drink you some lemon water every morning. This helps to get the blood circulating. This helps to activate the ethers around you so that your ancestors will work on your behalf. I'm going to be doing a video on pouring libations. You can do some of that. But at the end of the day, that's it, man. Just, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. Let's flip this term, nigga. Let's break free from these slave chains. Remember, Morpheus told Neo, you are a slave, Neo. That's how the Matrix controls us, through slavery, through time. Remember, they used to see the numbers all the time when they were going to the Matrix. We're controlled by numbers, because numbers don't lie. So that's why I gave you some numbers, some things to do, a time period to do it in, that was all based on outside of the zero-time reference of this Matrix, of this fish aquarium that they have us in. Break free. It's time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I thank you guys for listening and watching and giving me a little bit of your time. And until my next video, I'll leave you in Hotep. Namaste. Good vibes.